Matchmaker Monday, we're back with another episode, and we have an interesting one to cover today as Joaquin Buckley was defeated by Kamaru Usman at the weekend. And we're going to be lining up some fights that make sense, and we're going to be lining up some fights that have been previously booked. If you're catching my drift, you know what fight I'm talking about. Let's get straight into the first one I'm thinking about. So, as we can see on screen here, we are looking at Belal Muhammad versus Kamaru Usman. Two guys I really didn't kind of expect to not get along as much as they do. Listen, no one really likes Belal Muhammad. We've all come to that conclusion, okay? He's just a bit of a fucking, gee bag. But Kamaru Usman, like, I don't know what way it worked out, but, like, someone cried on someone's podcast. And I think Usman cried on, like, Belal's podcast or some shit like that. Which is, like, or Usman cried on his own podcast when Belal was there. Some shit like that. I don't know. I don't give a fuck who cried on whose. But this is absolutely one of the fights to make. Now, we do have to remember that Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Belal was, like, said it was done by John Anik. John Anik was like, so the UFC are going to book Shavkat versus Belal. I think this is a great fight for the fight. I might make a whole video just talking about John Anik and how he's kind of sliding into Dana White's role. Because Dana White's promoting fucking Canelo versus Crawford. So Usman versus Belal. I think Usman would get that one done based off what I've seen at the weekend and previous fights. Belal's stand-up is like forward pressure, but Usman's hands are so underrated. Buckley's hands were so good there at the weekend. I just think Buckley choked. Everyone, like, if you know what I mean by choke, obviously you're not an OG MLG fan of like Optic, Phase, Complexity, EG, Envious, teams like that. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, that says everything. I feel like Usman's striking is going to be a lot better. Plus, Belal's just not going to be able to take him down. But Usman does have kind of like robotic striking. He's definitely not like, he had like a mad spree of falling in love with his hands. The Masvidal, Burns, Colby, they were all just stand-up fights. Do you know what I mean? And the first Colby fight as well, first and second were predominantly, stand-up fights. Then he kind of went back to that when he fought Leon Edwards, because he knows, fuck, this guy's really good at range. Because Usman just was not fighting anyone that could kick. Okay, like Masvidal had like a body kick in him, cool. Burns had no kicking ability. Leon was the first person he fought that had like serious kicking ability, okay? Because before that, Usman was just going to his bread and butter, the wrestling. That's how he beat Tyron Woodley. That's how he literally got the fucking belt, okay? But he just has even Usman's kicks are fucking trash. He just has like a piston of a jab. And he has like a nice straight right. But as regards like a combination up against the cage, like what Buckley was throwing, you will never ever see Kamaru Usman go with like a hook and then he has like okay uppercuts, but he leaves his chin wide open. But Usman's chin is fucking class. Okay, you'll see the meme of him getting knocked out by Leon Edwards, cool. But you've never really seen Usman like badly hurt. Okay, he got hurt by Burns in like the first round. It was almost like a stumble, not a stumble. Like, give Burns his credit, like he hurt him, but he recovered very well and ended up knocking Gilbert Burns out, which is like crazy to think back then. Because remember, that was like, I remember watching that live or recorded and watching in the morning. But Usman was so known for his hands, and I was thinking like Usman will get this one done. Probably Gilbert's okay on the ground. He's got good jiu-jitsu, but he hasn't got insane control to the level of Usman. And this was prime Usman. Prime Usman was one of the best champions that we've ever had. Not Belal Muhammad. Not Belal Muhammad at all. JDM restored order in this division. The UFC is back. The UFC is so back. We have an insanely good run. And we got a good main event here at the weekend. We got Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, which was a fucking banger. Rafael Fiziev is on that card. Curtis Blades is on that card. It's in like Azerbaijan, or I don't know where the fuck it is, to be honest with you. But it's in like a random location, and like that's a good one. And then the big one, the biggest one of the year so far. And then the big one, the biggest one of the year so far is next week. We have Ilya versus Charles, not Cape versus Royval versus Van, Kai France versus Pantoja. Like a good card. We have a really good card coming up. It's still mid enough, you know what I mean? Now, especially Cape's kind of out of the pick. Joshua Van's that is a good fight, but it's not the level of before. But where was I going with this? Yeah, the UFC's back. I think Usman, and Bilal would be a boring fight though. But it makes the most amount of sense. I 100% think that's the fight to make. It absolutely is the fight to make. You know what I mean? Bilal will talk his shit. He's a good enough trash talker to where you're just like, I feel like Bilal Muhammad is a good trash talker because you're just listening to him and you're like, shut the fuck up. Like, look at your fight style. He kind of like rage baits people. Almost what like Dana's doing now with that, oh yeah, I've been busy. Busy promoting a fucking boxing fight. But, you know, I feel like Bilal, like, rage baits a bit like Dana, where it is, oh yeah, I've been busy. No, but the gossip. You've been busy promoting a fucking boxing fight. That's why you're fucking busy. Anyway, Bilal kind of rage baits you, and it works. As regards how this fight plays out, I feel like it would be definitely a standing fight, and I think Usman would just kind of, like, win the rounds kind of nicely. Bilal's forward pressure is probably going to... It could land him an opportunity to threat a takedown, but I think Usman's takedown defense is really good. To be fair, we don't really see Usman, you know, have to use his takedown defense. He used it against the Colby in the second fight. He used it, you know, a bit against Leon. Like, Leon took him down and took his back in the first fight. But apart from that, you know, Usman, you know, Leon kind of shot like a few panic takedowns in the trilogy fight. But apart from that, we never really see Kamaru Usman use his takedown defense. Ever. You know what I mean? I guarantee you Bilal Muhammad will be the one to go in there and test that shit out. I probably would trust it, like, because I have no reason not to trust it. Anytime I've seen Usman having to use his takedown defense, he's come up solid, so there's no reason for me not to trust it. Bilal didn't look great against JDM with his takedowns. You know, his bread and butter just looked really poor. And he's not a good stand-up fighter. Like, he's just not, okay? I'm fucking sorry. He's really just not a good stand-up fighter. And I think, like, Usman's piston jab would be able to just get the better of him. I feel like he'd be able to land a few more combinations. Bilal does have a decent enough striking. He's got nice movement, but I feel like Usman would take that. And I feel like Usman could actually take Bilal down in moments, but he'd just do nothing with it. Do you know what I mean? But then again, like, Buckley gets really good takedown defense. I feel like if there is a threat of a takedown, I feel like Usman is going to be the one. Now, I always say this about Bilal. Where I'm just like, oh, I don't really see Bilal winning here. Like, how could... I said that in the... I just ruined my trim there, fucking hell. I said that in the Leon fight where I was like, I just don't see where Bilal Muhammad can win the fight. I said that in the Leon fight, which I was terribly wrong because Leon's takedown defense was fucking shit the last 2 fights. And I just feel like Bilal's kind of forward pressure would suit Usman's striking because he'd probably walk onto shots in moments. And I feel like if there's anyone that's going to be able to get a takedown, it's going to be Kamaru Usman. I could see Bilal kind of cage controlling a little bit, but I feel like Usman will win that fight, okay? That's the first matchup. It's a good matchup. It would be a boring fight, but like there'd be a bit of hype to the build-up and stuff, so I go with that one. Next, we have Joaquin Buckley versus Ian Garry. The Buck versus the Cook. The one we all wanted to see at the start of, at the end of December, but fell through, and then Buckley beat the absolute living shit out of Colby Covington, which was fine by me. But I feel like this is the perfect time to run it back. You know, Ian's coming off a nice win over Carlos Prates. You know, he nearly got fucking starched. I'm telling you, Joaquin Buckley would beat Ian Garry. I think Joaquin Buckley would beat Ian Garry. Is Ian Garry really a top 5 welterweight? Think about that. You have people like Joaquin Buckley who probably aren't a top... Well, he's not a top 5 welterweight. You have Shavkat, who beat him. And Ian Garry literally parades around like he beat Shavkat. I made Shavkat look human. I made Shavkat look human, man. You fucking lost. What? Jeff Neal made him look human. Bro, what are you talking about? The Jeff Neal fight was way more better. It was way better than your performance. I beat Jeff Neal. Very shit performance. You couldn't... I don't know. I just... Fucking Ian Garry, man. He's so fucking annoying. I do... listen, I have rooted for Ian Garry from the start. I've watched him in Cage Warriors. But when you just chat the most utter shit... And you already know this is not rage bait. You already know Ian Garry fully believes every single thing he is saying. That he made Shavkat look human. And stuff like that, and the fact that he didn't want to finish Neil Magny. That's just so stupid. You couldn't finish the one-legged Neil Magny. You went to a split decision with Jeff Neal, which some people actually thought you lost, and you nearly got your head splattered by Carlos Prates in the 5th round. I always say Ian Garry looked like he woke up in the middle of the night and he was looking for something in his bed and he just couldn't find it. That's what he looked like. People will remember that moment. You got a good win against Carlos Prates. You look sharp. But Carlos Prates didn't throw. As soon as he threw, you were in trouble. You were in trouble. And I just don't know if I just don't think Ian Garry is a top 5 welterweight. Like, I think Bilal would beat him. I think Leon would beat him. I think Brady would beat him. I think JDM would beat him. Shavkat already beat him. I think Usman would beat him. And I think Buckley would beat him. It's quite hard to see what I think is Ian Garry's ceiling here. Okay? It's quite hard to see. But I don't really see Ian beating any of those guys. Like, I just don't. He already lost to Shavkat. Okay? And you can't finish Neil Magny, and you just fucking shit performance against people like Jeff Neal, and you're so technically sound. But I don't see you being like, you have no power either. He has the worst power I have ever seen. Oh, he got a vicious head kick against D-Rod. Who? What else? Jordan Williams? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. He's more like, when he finishes people, it's more like a precise shot rather than like a Buckley who's chinning you bad. Like remember when Buckley knocked out Wonderboy? Fuck, would Ian even beat Wonderboy? Would Ian beat Wonderboy? I don't know. And he beat MVP. Beat MVP. I thought MVP won. And Ian Garry had fucking nothing for MVP in that second round. Watch the second round again. Ian Garry had nothing for Michael Venom Page in those striking exchanges. He had fucking nothing. And it's a fact. Listen, I don't want to turn it. I'm not hating on Ian Garry. You can go back and watch all the videos I've made about Ian Garry from the start, bro. From the Vicente Luque fight, I was saying, I want this dude winning. I want this dude winning. I'm sorry about that. I want him winning. But I can't back you when you're chatting absolute bollocks. Fucking bollocks, bro. I can't back it. Okay? I have no problem with you being confident saying you think you're the best in the world. I want to hear that. But when you're saying you're parading around like you beat Shavkat Rakhmonov because you made him look human and you took... Oh, cool, you took his back. What the fuck did you do with that? You took Michael Venom Page's back and you did fucking nothing with both of them. You lost. You lost to Shavkat. And you lost. There was no way you could have won. You're parading around like you literally won the fight because you took his back. And you lost the position 30 seconds later. Same thing with Michael Venom Page. I don't know. How this fight goes, I think Buckley wins. I think he'd be way too kind of like... I feel like Buckley would get in on Ian Garry and find the chin. I think so. And I definitely think Ian could pick him at range because Ian Garry could pick a lot of people at range. You know, he could play the range game with most people. He couldn't play with MVP, though. I think Buckley would shoot some takedowns to give Ian Garry an idea in his head. Like, okay, he could wrestle here, and that's when he'd find a massive shot to chin him. Listen, like, I think the best way to describe how I feel about Ian Garry is I'd actually love Ian Garry as champion. I would love that. I think that would be class for the sport. I don't even know if he's just so annoying, man. Like, he's so delusional. And, like, you have to be delusional to get to, like, a certain place. I'm probably delusional making these videos. But I'm not parading around acting like I'm the biggest MMA YouTuber on the planet. I'm not even anywhere fucking near it. Okay? And I know that. Like, I'm not stupid. I think I can get to that point for 100%, but I know I'm not there. But this dude just, like, is next level delusional. Like, the people in his gym and all not say, like, look, bro, you lost. That's a worrying thing for me. That's a red flag. You need real people around you that will sit you down and be like, fuck, what are you parading around for? You fucking lost. What good is there in that? Okay, you learned from it, 100%. But parading around, acting like you won the fight because you lost, is fucking so stupid. Someone needs to get this guy and sit him down and be like, bro, you lost. Get over it. Stop parading around. You learn from where you went wrong, but you lost. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think Ian Garry has those kind of people. Mainly because he switches gym every 6 months. I remember the one in Ireland. I remember the one in the UK. And I remember this Stanford MMA one. I think it's Stanford. Where Henry Hoover was like, get the fuck out of here, mate. I don't know. Buckley would be able to find that chin. I think it was a bad night at the office for Ian Garry there the last day, and I always say if Ian Garry becomes champ, I'd be so happy. But if Ian Garry got splattered, I'd laugh. That's honestly how I feel about Ian Garry. Okay, but I go walking Buckley via fourth round KO on that one. The next fight I would like to see is another welterweight fight. Fuck it, we'll stay at that welterweight. I'd love to see Leon Edwards versus Marlon Moraes, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I seen it rumored. For this, it was for an UFC Noche, which I don't know if it was for UFC Noche actually. Maybe it was, which would make absolutely fucking no sense at all. Listen, Leon, we all know I'm a Leon Edwards fan. He's my favorite fighter in the sport. Unfortunately, the last year has been rough, but I feel like he's not done yet. Do you know what I mean? But man, the Brady fight really just put like the nail in the coffin on almost. Like I was just like, fuck me. Like I feel like the JDM fight would have been bad as well. It would have been bad as well. I still feel like Leon can beat some of these guys. Like I just think he hits like a mental barrier in his head. It's going to be a hard fight because Leon is on like a 2 fight loss streak, and I'd say his confidence is in the bin, and I'd say just like his ability to keep range is so good. And I thought for the Colby second fight, and then the both Usman fights, the Leon win against Usman is aging extremely well. By the way, the trilogy one. Just saying. I felt like he had bulletproof takedown defense, and his striking was elite. And I remember just thinking, it was like, it's gonna be fucking hard to beat. I was like, that's gonna be hard to beat. And I thought Bilal, like, if that was sea level Leon, I feel like he would have beaten Bilal. But the fucking when he shot for a takedown against Sean Brady, I was honestly just like, mate, what are you doing? And I said in my video, I picked Leon to win, but I was just like, if 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 Brady gets him down in the first and just holds him down and rides out that round, then I think it's going to be a bad night for him. And it was a fucking awful night for Leon Edwards. But I feel like if we get, I don't want to talk too much about this because it pisses me off, and I've got enough of the ramp up. I feel like this is a nice little fight to make. I'm gonna go with Leon Edwards via this one. You know, I'll go with the decision, probably 3 rounds. So let me know what you think about these matchups down below, and thanks for watching.